U.S. Forest Service has close to 150 rental cabins throughout southeast and south central Alaska. These cabins are surrounded by incredible scenic beauty, and they're often far away from towns and villages. If you make a decision to rent a Forest Service cabin in Alaska, there are a few important considerations you'll need to be aware of as you make your plans. The first thing that most visitors notice about Alaska is how big everything is. The state of Alaska is 1/5 the size of the entire lower 48 states. The Tongass National Forest in southeast Alaska is the largest in the nation, and it's roughly about the size of the state of New Jersey. And most of it's not very easy to get into. Forest Service cabins come in a variety of sizes and shapes. One of the most unique cabins is a converted caboose that's located along the narrow gauge railroad outside of Skagway. It's accessible by trail, or the train will drop you off. Remote cabins can be anywhere from 3 to 80 miles from the nearest community. And the only way into a lot of the cabins is by chartered float plane or by boat. Once your float plane makes the drop-off, you're completely on your own until your scheduled pickup time. In some locations, you might run into a fisherman or a kayaker, but in most places, you'll be totally by yourself. Forest Service cabins are functional and comfortable, but they're not the Ritz. Beds are wood platforms with no mattresses. Heat is provided by either a wood-burning or an oil-burning stove. There's no electricity or running water, and sanitary facilities consist of an outhouse. If your cabin is on a lake, it may have a small boat, but you'll need to bring your own life jackets. You'll need to bring sleeping bags, food, a small camp stove, cooking utensils, a water filter system, something to carry water in, fishing gear, life jackets, a lantern, soap and towels, warm clothing, hiking boots, and rain gear. If your cabin has an oil-burning stove, you'll need to bring a container of number 1 diesel fuel oil, which you can purchase locally. Roughly figure on using about a gallon of fuel each day. In most cases, the stoves are for heat only and are not suitable for cooking. In a remote cabin, it's probably a good idea to pack enough extra food to last a few days, since weather can delay your scheduled pickup. You'll also need to bring something that you can store your garbage in, because you'll need to take that out with you. If your cabin is located on salt water, you need to be aware of the local tide tables. In the lower 48 states, tides may vary just a couple of feet a day, but Alaska's coastal waters can vary from 25 to 30 feet a day. If your boat is pulled up on the shore at high tide, it may end up stranded from the water's edge at low tide. But if your boat's just pulled up on the beach at low tide and not tied off, it may be gone the next morning. Some cabins can only be reached at high tide. Alaska is a great place to cool off in the summertime, and you'll need to plan for the weather. The Tongass is a rainforest, and it rains a lot. You may have some sunny days, or you may not see the sun during your entire stay, so you should plan to bring along warm clothing, layers of clothing are best, and rain gear. And just plan to do all outdoor activities in any kind of weather. If you have the proper rain gear, there shouldn't be any problem. Some areas of the Chugach National Forest are a little drier than the Tongass, but you should still be ready for rain. Summertime temperatures range from the 50s and 60s on cloudy days to the 70s and sometimes the 80s when it's sunny. Boat safety is extremely important. The temperature of the lakes and salt water is cold, and prolonged exposure to the cold can be fatal. Remember that you're in bear country, and if you want to keep uninvited guests away from your cabin, you'll need to be careful how you store and prepare your food. Bears are attracted by the refuse from cleaning fish and the smell of garbage. Remember, all garbage must be packed out when you leave. The other common pests that you'll have to deal with are mosquitoes and other flying insects. In some areas, they can be thick. Bring a good repellent, and you should also consider buying a head net. They're quite effective and are available at most discount and sporting goods stores. Probably your greatest expense will be the cost of transportation to and from your cabin. Most larger towns on the Tongass and the Chugach have commercial jet service. And they also have float plane or boat charter services. Some parts of Alaska can be reached by car by the Alaska Highway, but most communities on the Tongass can only be reached by air or ferry. The state ferry system can be boarded at Bellingham, Washington, or Prince Rupert, British Columbia, and it serves most southeast Alaska communities. Many saltwater cabins can be reached by float plane or boat from nearby communities. You should plan to do some research and planning before you come to Alaska. The local Forest Service District Office can give you information on local charter services and give you more details about your cabin. If you plan ahead, you'll have an unforgettable adventure.